So the first example that we're going to do is going to be 1800ths divided by 3 wholes. Okay, again, the 1800ths is telling me my total, and I need to decide what this 3 should tell me. Should I use measurement division or should I use partitive division? So you should ask yourself if it would be easier to make 3 whole groups or if it would be easier to measure out 3 wholes. Okay, my total is 1800ths. I don't have a whole yet at all. So measuring out 3 wholes would be impossible if I don't even have 3 wholes to begin with. Okay, so in this situation, it's easier to make 3 groups, and therefore I'm going to use partitive division. So I'm going to say that the 3 is going to represent my number of groups. My total is 1800, so that is 1 long and 8 units. And as I mentioned, I'm going to use partitive division because it is easier to make 3 whole groups. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and create my groups. And then I'm going to begin to divvy out all of my pieces. All right, everyone got 1 unit, so I'm going to go on to the next. Everyone got 2 units. And now I notice that I cannot divvy out my blocks any longer because I don't have enough for every group to get the same amount. So what I'm going to do is I am going to regroup my long into 10 units. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I believe I counted that right. And then I'm going to continue to divvy out my units. Right, so this is no longer here. It regrouped into my units, and I can continue to partition out or divvy out my units so that every group has the same amounts. Okay, they're all at 5 units, and we can divvy them out one more time to each group. Each group has 6 units, and my units are represented by hundredths. So every group has 6 units or 6 hundredths, and the answer to this would be 0 and 6 hundredths. When we are dividing by a whole number, it is easiest to use partitive division because I can make a whole number of groups. Okay, let's look at another problem where we're dividing by a decimal. In this problem, we are going to do 3 wholes divided by 75 hundredths. Okay, 3 is going to tell me my total. This is what I have. And the 75 hundredths, I need to determine if it would be easier to make 75 hundredths of a group or if it would be easier to measure out 75 hundredths. Okay, making 75 hundredths of a group means that I'm making less than 1 whole group. If I don't know the size of 1 whole group, I cannot make a part of that group. And so making 75 hundredths of a group is going to be impossible without just guessing and checking. And that is not an efficient strategy in this situation. Okay. Instead, I want to measure out 75 hundredths because that could be the size of my group, and I could see how many times I can measure out 75 hundredths. So I am going to make the 75 hundredths the size of my group this time so that I can measure out that size and just see how many groups would I be able to make. Okay, so the thing I'm looking for is my number of groups. This is measurement division. Because I'm going to measure out 75 hundredths. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. I have 3 holes, so I'm going to make the flat 1 hole, and I'm going to have 3 of those. And now I'm going to measure out 75 hundredths and see how many times I can do that. Okay, 75 hundredths would be 7 longs and 5 units. Okay, so here I'm going to have 7 longs. I'm going to measure out 7 of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 longs, and then 5 units. 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is going to make 1 whole group, right? Now, I still have some longs and units left in this hole, okay? There is still going to be 5 more units to finish this long. 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2 more units to make up the whole. Okay, so I can't forget about those. There still need to be a part of what I'm measuring out for this division problem. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing, right? I want to measure out 75 and see how many times I can do that. Well, over here I already have 25 hundredths, so I'm just going to add more to that to make my next group. 25 hundredths plus 50 hundredths, or 5 tenths, is going to get me to my 75 hundredths. So there's 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths. So this will make 1 more group, right? So I have 1 group, 2 groups. Let's see if I can make another group. Okay, I'm going to finish out this hole, okay, measuring out as much as I can from the rest of this. That should be 5 more longs, or 5 tenths. There's 3, 4, 5 tenths, and so I need 25 more hundredths to make another group. Okay, so 2 tenths and 5 hundredths, and this will make 1 more group. Okay, so I can make 3 groups. All right, I still have some left out of my 3 holes, so I'm going to see if I can make yet 1 more group. Okay, this is 25 hundredths. The rest of this should be 75 hundredths, so I should be able to make 1 more group. All right, so we have 3, 4, 5 hundredths, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more tenths. So I can make 4 whole groups. All right. So the answer to the problem 3 divided by 75 hundredths equals 4 wholes, because I could make 4 whole groups. And I used measurement division this time to determine that because it was easier to measure out 75 hundredths rather than make the 75 hundredths my number of groups.